Hi again, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Three Bridges. So as you can see, I've got the underground running, mainly just some background enjoyment and also a good bit of track cleaning really. I haven't been able to run it for a while, but everything's running fine, so I'm just working my way through the various trains. So I have sort of 3 of the EFE sort of 4 carriage trains. So I've got one of the silver, so the 1960s stock, and then I've got 2 of the 1938 stock, I think it is. There's one there, and oh yeah, the other one's sitting over at Amersham at the moment. So last week has really been focusing on wires, as you can see, and tools. So I've been working on getting the electrification of a Marylebone line or Chiltern line, basically. So the Marylebone end is all now sorted, and it seems to work okay. That's the other thing I'm trying to test out is actually, so I just have 2 power feeds at the end, okay, and then apart from 3 lines around the turntable where the power wouldn't feed, so they run off a separate little control panel I've got to build. The 2 lines basically dictate how the trains flow into one of 4 tracks. So, and it seems to be fine. So as you set the points, and basically the trains either run into 1, 2, 3 or 4, and then changing the points you can then run the trains out of 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then they basically run up round the layout, which is just a simple 2-track system, which brings them back down to Wendover, and then they obviously head into the Aylesbury board. So a bit more of that later on a later episode, but good news was, well, let's try and go by. So the good news was I finally, some of my oldest wiring that I'd put in originally for Wendover probably just needed upgrading to the same sort of gauge as everything else, and then that seems to fix the problem. So with that now sorted, I can start working on a better looking control panel than a load of switches and wires, and a gauge master controller for this end. The other thing I now got to test out is, obviously I've got this Risborough line, so Risborough / grids line that runs around the front, and that runs off a separate gauge master controller that runs a little goods yard, shunting yard, and it's where the 2 lines come together. I've got a piece of track that basically can be powered from either the sort of Marylebone controller or the shunting yard controller, and so I just need to have a bit of a test out. I think I need to add an extra rail insulator in, and then have one length of track that either can be fed from each controller but not at the same time. Does that make sense? And I think that will solve any short problems, but I'll try it out. So the only other thing I've sorted out was I finally got a little control panel for the goods shunting yard, so for the power of it, and the Risborough line, so that all seems to work fine, and I just sort of run it off a sort of handheld gauge master controller, and that gives me enough flexibility to change the various points. Starting to think about how I want to finish off the seam between this board and the How on the Hill station at the back. So here I'm going to have, we've got some of that. I'm trying to remember whose fencing it is. It's the ratios. Sort of fencing, so that part of the yard I want to be able to see the station front. But as you get further down, I need to basically bring up a road up, goes behind these buildings and basically joins in with the road of this bridge, which I still got to explain a bit more to you about. But I think I'll work on sorting out that bit as well, and so it'll hopefully tie the two sort of sections together. So I've got to build another one of these to go on my turntable, some sort of style, and then I'll have something slightly different down at the Marylebone station, drop between Marylebone and Aylesbury, which will allow me to run the whole of the Chiltern line from that sort of point in the loft as the only point, so sort of quite near to it. So that's it basically for the last couple of weeks. I can't really think of anything else that's worth showing you. I'll just let the trains run a little bit longer. I am slowly working on the back wall of Marylebone station downstairs, and I've got a plan for the canopy. I'll probably spend more time looking at other people's videos and getting some inspiration from Tony Northeastern and how he did his canopies, and Michael at Chamwell is there. They're quite helpful. Right, a few more trains and then hopefully catch up with you in another couple of weeks. Thanks for watching as always, and enjoy your modelling. Cheers.